The dark matrix demonic takeover of the planet is nearly complete. You may be asking yourself, is this footage deepfaked? Is this footage CGI? Of course it is. They want you to think that this is it, that this is the extent of the invasion, of the infiltration, of the insurgency from another dimension. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the videos out there before, authenticated by the Department of Defense. They want you to think that this is it. We've got hypersonic tic-tac UFOs, doing zigzags across the planet. They want you to think that this is the extent of what's going on out there. It looks like they live on the television, and they want you to think that this is it, that they're just, dropping off little light bulbs, if you will. They're dropping off more than that. That's quite clear. They're spraying out there like there's no tomorrow. That's quite clear as well. But we should be concerned about what we're seeing on the TV, because it seems like it's all pro-death. It's all anti-life. It's all Sodom and Gomorrah. It's all, the Luciferian cause. That might sound a little cliche out there. It might sound a little far-fetched out there. But just think about what you're seeing on television in terms of the 7 deadly sins, in terms of what's in the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. They're pushing pride, envy, gluttony, and the like. They want you to blaspheme. They want you to be like Sodom and Gomorrah out there. They basically, worship the devil right there on television, in so many words. And somehow we're just supposed to believe that everything is okay. They want to eat your fucking children. They're putting up death towers everywhere. They're fluoridating the water. They're chemtrailing, spraying people like bugs out there, saying it's for the Zika or whatever. And you've got these clones everywhere. The Hillary clones, the Hollywood clones, right? So people want to know what's going on. How many people have seen, the news reports of these interstellar UFOs that just happen to be flying by Earth and flying by Mars, dropping shit off as it goes by? How many people have seen videos like that or reports like that? I'm sure you have, unless you haven't been paying attention. And that's the point. They don't want you to know what's really going on. So they keep you busy with the iPhones, the fake book, the CNN, the politics, the Russians did it, all that kind of stuff, the Hillary server, lock her up. They'll have you chanting anything as long as you're, under control. And as long as you're following what this They Live television says, whatever narrative they're selling you, then, you're certainly not in control. And again, that's the point. And anytime you start touching up on these subjects for what it really is, this demonic takeover, this massive eugenics program, the dumbing down of society and the like, the imposition of Luciferian, tendencies, agendas, doctrine, ideologies, you name it. As soon as you start talking about the beast system for what it is and what it represents, all of a sudden you're shut down. You're a hater, a racist, a Nazi, a Russian bot. You're all of the above. And, you deserve, the worst of the worst that this system has to offer. They will, impose the full pressure weight of this system on you right now for not complying with their program. And, you've seen this for yourselves, most likely, but the situation is much worse than it appears. But I think the first thing that should be said out there is that people are definitely waking up to something. You can feel that there's something terribly wrong with the world, like the movie The Matrix. You can taste it. And the question is, what are you waking up to? And everybody's got their theory on this, whether it be a flat earth or, something else. But truly what you're waking up to out there is the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. And, there's no telling how many different species are out there. To be quite honest, when you look at the diversity of life on Earth, if we're to imagine what life in the universe must be like, it could take any shape, form, that we can think of and beyond. So limiting our prospects of what we might encounter to just being little gray men, without sounding too discriminatory there, I think is probably naive. I think we should imagine that anything is possible in terms of what might be walking amongst with us. But looking at the facts, which is there's definitely numerous eugenics programs underway right now. They're targeting people, for the slaughter, for the slow kill, in a way that they can get away with it, is rather concerning. And I think people should be trying to get to the bottom of, why do they got the fluoride in the water, the lead in the water? Why are there death towers everywhere? Why are they spraying you like bugs and saying it's for the Zika? Why are they, why are they spraying the skies like they're trying to block out the sunlight, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't that kind of shady when people are trying to block out the light? There's a term for that. It's called being photophobic, afraid of the light, and that really is the purest definition of evil, right? The absence of light. And people actually begin to manifest these characteristics in real life. They're afraid of the light. They'll be wearing shades at night. They'll be wearing shades on a cloudy day. They'll wear shades in the store. We're talking about the shady people. I think they are suspect number one. You see people with shades on out there, it probably means they're afraid of the light, that they've been taken over by the demonic. What do we mean by that? What is the dark matrix demonic takeover of the planet supposed to fucking mean, genius? Well, obviously we see a lot of people out there worshiping the devil. They got these Luciferian things going on, tattoos, paraphernalia, regalia, posters, music. They preach it pretty much wherever they go. You see, there's all these devil worshippers out there, and you just have to wonder, are they out of their minds, or is there something else going on? And I'll tell you something else. You won't see this in the papers that often, but we're getting tons of reports that people that have basically chosen this way willfully, the dark side, if you will, they start hearing voices. Something is going on, and our suspicion is that it's the Legion out there. The Legion of demons that people have been talking about for thousands of years. Where these creatures come from is another question. But they're here. They're taking over mankind, and they're part of this hive mind, most certainly connected to the devil itself, ladies and gentlemen. That's at the core of what we're fighting, against in this world. It's not about politics. That's just a smokescreen. The real question here is, how do we fight this evil that we see plainly manifest itself over and over again in every town, in every city around the world? You can call it whatever you want to out there, but you've seen the demonic for yourself out there. I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee you've seen the spooky. You've seen the creepy. There's something else going on out there. It ain't just, about brick and mortar buildings and television and internet and the like. You've seen it for yourself. You've seen the creepy one way or another. The question is, what's going on? Look, everybody's got their perspective on that, depending on what they've been through, where they went to school, etc. But, an easy way to just kind of, pique your intrigue a little more is to talk about the DNA. What's the the DNA. It's a programming language. And it's essential even for the simplest form of life. Blue-green algae, cyanobacteria. How many people remember biology class? They all told you that, life started with the blue-green algae, with the basically the scum on, on lakes and rivers and the like. Even that contains megabytes of information in a programming language that we call DNA. It doesn't spontaneously generate. You don't just get code out of nothing. That's the law of information, and the law of biogenesis tells us that you can't get life from non-life because it requires DNA. So you really want to know what's going on out here? It has nothing to do with devolution or the Santa Claus. Those are just anagrams for something else. I'll let you figure that out. You can think about that. But what's going on out there, it isn't about what they're trying to sell you on the television or what they tried to sell you in the public schools. I think everybody's figured that part out. What they're really wondering is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And if the television is any clue, this is like literally the demonic takeover by the devil itself. And there's just no denying the evidence. And they're just trying to mass murder everybody like a Jonestown cult. That's basically what these people are. All right. And they can call it love and equality, and they can call it whatever they want to. They can sell it any way they want to. They can call it the red pill. They can call it the blue pill. They can say it's good for you. They can say you'll have so much fun. Just try it out. They can say whatever they want. They can give you a big check, a big bonus. But deep down, these people are like of the dark side. Quite literally. You can tell. Not just by, what they say and, and the like, but you can tell. The question is, what are we going to do about this extermination program? What are we going to do about this system that's running the television, that's deceiving the nations, the masses, the believers and the non-believers out there? What are we going to do about this system? They would like to have us fight each other and just, and never take a step forward towards the real solution out there. And, this is a vaccine that seems like it hurts the most. How do you protect yourself? What can you do, with somebody that's been taken over, ladies and gentlemen? And if the definition of darkness is the absence of light, then you need to shine light onto that darkness. It's as easy as that. You know how they say that daylight basically sanitizes a surface? The light takes out the virus. The light takes out the darkness. And if you want the purest form of light that this universe has to offer, it's right there in the Bible. Saying it is written to the devil is like, is like the biggest floodlight you can shine on any situation. Living by, what's preached in the Gospels, as well as the Old Testament. Never forget where we come from, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there. It starts in Genesis 1, chapter 1. And everybody should be reading Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and the like. Don't skip over it. It's very important. Every word in there is very important. And essentially what we're seeing on the television is the antithesis of what's in the Bible. It's the mirror image. It's the reflection. It's the upside down world. And where this comes from is another story altogether. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gospels tell us that, hell is in, the center of the earth. It's here. What these people are, undoubtedly we've had visits from some other place, I think is another story. And I think that we're just, beginning to fulfill our destiny, wherever that might be. But as long as we're disillusioned by the deception on TV, we're certainly not going to get to a proper destination. I hope everybody out there can agree on that. The people on TV are full of it. They're deceiving us. And the big question still remains, where did we come from? What's going on out there? What is this system that's trying to get us? And I think the more we ask questions in that frame of thought, in that way of thinking, the quicker we'll get to, where we ought to be. But right now, it's quite clear that we're headed in the wrong direction. There's some kind of occupation going on, and this beast system wants to start plugging people into the Matrix. They want to roll out the Skynet, the Terminators, and the like. It won't be long before they're assimilating humanity and, feeding the living the remnants of the dead. I mean, that's basically, their destiny for humanity. And if that sounds like where you want to be, then continue on, believing what you see on TV. Continue on watching the shows and entertaining yourselves that way. Watching the sitcoms and, the TV shows and the like. Just, waste the time. Don't make a difference out there. And, certainly things will continue to get worse. But the sooner people start, banding together, like there's a flood and you need to sandbag to protect your city, the better everybody will be. And in fact, thinking about it, it's kind of sad that cities don't have walls anymore because they're going to need them, bitches, given what's coming. And, time will tell how bad things will get. But it's not just the Terminators and the Skynet and the like that people should be worried about. On a metaphysical scale, things are getting worse in terms of how many people are body snatched out there. And if you just want to know for sure, to get an idea how bad it is in your town, just check out how many people are wearing shades out there. All the shady people think alike, ladies and gentlemen. And you'd be surprised how many people are walking around in the same environment without shades. They don't fear the light. They can stand the light. Can you out there? And if you're one of those shady people, break free from the darkness. Start with the shades and follow up with the Bible before it's too late. Save yourselves. Save who you can out there. It's a war for your soul. Never forget it. You're out here to pass the test. We're all running the maze together, and we're wondering what's going on. There's a system out there, and we call that dark system of control the dark matrix. And this demonic takeover, it's real. It's not your imagination. And it's starting to manifest itself physically in the form of this beast system. Watch out for it. It's only going to get much, much worse before it gets better. We need to collectively change the direction that we're going. And if you're just siding with one, puppet or another on the television, then you're not helping out the situation. Don't think that, these puppets, in the White House or in Congress are going to help you. They're not here to help you. They're here to keep you busy. And what you're seeing right now in the news is like an episode of The Apprentice. And as long as you're talking about that, as long as you're accepting what they're telling you, as long as you're giving them a blank check, nothing will ever change. You'll have a death tower, in your neighborhood soon. And whatever you're thinking, like, oh no, this guy, he's going to do it for me, tell it to Assange, ladies and gentlemen. Tell it to Julian Assange. Tell it to, all of the people that have had their rights violated in this country during this past administration. Tell it to the victims of, Obama is ISIS and, Benghazi, Hillary and all that. Tell it to those victims. They didn't get no justice in this administration. And, you've just become a more obedient slave. They gave you a little raise out there and you're so happy. You're so happy. And, look, I think people are getting what they deserve out there by accepting, the mass genocide through this eugenics program, the slow kill program. There's no denying that this is going on. And, you look at the 5G, the fluoride, the vaccines, the autism, the drug crisis, and the like. There's no doubt they're trying to take people out and get away with it, right? And they're just talking about something else, anything but what they're doing, right? And it's just like these videos, whether they're authentic or not, this isn't this isn't the extent of it. You know what I mean? So you can be talking about this like, oh, well, this doesn't seem so bad. And even if one day there's like 1 million of them, I mean, it's okay, right? It's okay until, it's too late. And when you start seeing stuff like this, I mean, it looks like the assimilation. It looks like, the invasion has begun. How many people remember, now I'm trying to think of that movie. It'll come to me later, but they just dropped off clones and started taking over the planet. You know what I mean? It's a Tom Cruise movie, but it's just, it's just not there. It's not The Edge of Tomorrow, which was an excellent one. If you want to talk Hollywood movies. But it was a very interesting storyline. And the other one, is kind of like in that genre, and they're just like dropping off the clones, and it's pretty much the end and all that stuff. And the survivors are pretending to be the invaders. It's all twisted, ladies and gentlemen. It's all twisted. But I think we're dealing with something like that. And when you start seeing them drop off clones and starting to geoengineer the planet, you should be asking questions out there. When you start seeing them erect death towers in everybody's neighborhood, you should be fucking asking questions instead of like trying to pick apart the tedious shit. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to nitpick and start a fight and just try to debunk an argument over the littlest thing, thinking that you're just like super justified, you might be, you might want to think about, what is really going on out there. Because cancer rates are through the roof. The autism thing is just like, out of control. And this is just the beginning of the genocide. These are the canaries in the coal mine, and people are just out there grabbing their ankles, strapping in for the ride. I pity these people that are selling out for so little, because, their children right now are going to be the first generation of cyborgs. Ladies and gentlemen, till the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance. Be sure to check us out at stfnreport.com. Till then.